everybody. I'm Bonnie. Thanks for the invitation to present and, of course, for the introduction. Can everybody hear me fine and
Yes.
see my screen? Okay, perfect. So we're a little bit in delay here, so I'll try to go through the demonstration a little faster, but it's actually a really self-explanatory and easy tool, so we won't have any troubles there. So, of course, welcome to the presentation, and again, apologies for the technical difficulties. I myself am Arti Sahgal. I'm the General Manager of Core Systems USA, responsible for our subsidiary in North and South America. I'm based out in New York. Here's some information on Core Systems. I think it's always important that you know what company you're actually dealing with. The company was founded back in 2006. I was one of the co-founders of the company. We're headquartered in Switzerland. This is actually our headquarters, which you can see right here. We're an SAP SSP Gold partner. That means we're really only a solution provider. We work on how to make SAP Business One better for you as a customer to work with. And we work directly with the partners. So we do not sell SAP. We do not work directly with customers. We really work with all our partners, like, of course, Encaptis, Coastal Range Systems, Project Line, to be able to optimize your work when dealing with SAP Business One. We also work very closely with SAP, so we were also co-innovation partner with SAP, where we, help them with projects. Now we're working with them on Business One on Demand, on HANA, and so on. So we're always, dealing with them through also the proximity between Germany and Switzerland, of course. Our vision is to be #1 business app vendor for ERP solutions. That's our goal, our vision. We also have, versus other SSPs, we have a very strong focus on SAP. And within SAP, we have a very strong focus on Business One. So we really have a lot of competency over many years for this niche and SME requirements, essentially. We have around 140 employees worldwide. Headquarters, as mentioned, is in Switzerland. Then we have subsidiary in the U.S., which covers the U.S. and Canada. We have China, Germany, Brazil, and so on. So a lot of subsidiaries. We really value our partners and, work a lot in training them and certifying them. Encaptis, the entire group, is also certified coresuite partner. So you're really dealing with experts there who are able to guide you in the right direction and provide you the best solution. So we have over 400 partners worldwide, equaling to about a network of over 3,000 experts. Just this year, we certified about 50 consultants across North America, so the solution is really spreading a lot and covering a lot of customer needs who are working with SAP Business One. Also, this, I think, is important for your reference. We have over 5,500 customers worldwide, equaling to around 70,000 users. So, we're like not a new kid on the block. There's really globally, the solution has been used a lot, has been tested widely, and, has been implemented in various scenarios, of course. Now, the focus of our session here, of course, that's the Core Suite portfolio, essentially. We're focusing on our products. This is a lean overview of our portfolio. Basis is, of course, always SAP Business One. Then the horizontal package, Core Suite Country Package, which, of course, I guess many of you have heard of already, also from prior webinars, which covers usability, document delivery, reporting, dashboards. Then we also have a mobility solution, which was actually the topic of the last Wednesday webinar, which I did for the Encaptis group, where you have mobile sales, field sales, creating time, expenses, and so on. We also have a time and service solution, which allows you to track time and expenses either in SAP or on the mobile device. The focus of our session today is going to be the Core Suite Cube. This is actually one of the latest additions last year to our portfolio and has had a very high demand actually in North America, actually a larger demand in North America than in our home market in Europe. It's for data analysis and reporting. And what is interesting about this solution is it's not a development which came out of an idea, but it really came from the practical needs of our large accounts, of our customers who require reporting and data analysis. So it's really something which came not from development, but actually came from consulting and then got developed. So it's really a hands-on tool which is supposed to help you in your day-to-day business. So this is going to be our focus today. I really have a very less slides so that we can actually go into the product because that's the fun part. Here's some facts on the coresuite cube. So it's the whole purpose is analysis of SAP data in Excel in a pivot table that you can do complex analysis within seconds, easily customizable by you through drag and drop. So you don't need to go as, which was put very nicely in the newsletter sent out by the Encaptis group. You don't have to go to your IT person, ask them to write a query, then get a report which is static and so on. You can really through drag and drop create your own reports very quickly. You can also subscribe to analyzed reports because they're web-enabled, so the whole solution is based on Microsoft Analysis Services. Also, a big deal is that you can access the cube or the Excel cube independent of SAP, so I don't need to log into SAP and then launch an Excel and the cube and do my data analysis. If I'm connected to the network, I can also do that directly from my laptop at home. Also, big topic is usually consolidated reporting. That's always been a big challenge working with SAP Business One. So this is really also a big thing that you can very easily do consolidated financial reporting with our cube. Another good feedback which we're getting from our partners mainly is the minimal setup efforts versus other solutions. It's really a light solution as long as you fulfill the system requirements given for the Microsoft Analysis Services and the reporting services. It's really a very quick setup which you can do by a wizard. So it's not major heavy investment there. In terms of what are the main OLAP functions which it provides? Consolidation, as I mentioned before. So if you have multiple SAP databases, you can actually consolidate over those databases. Drill down to a very granular level where it really takes you into the document numbers and so on. The slicing and the dicing. So I really like that fact. It has given me, as a general manager, a lot of flexibility to analyze data, trends, and so on in various ways, which before was impossible because I always would need someone to write a query or a report for me. So it really gives, as a reporting tool, it gives you a lot of flexibility to really analyze, slice, and dice data and drill down into data the way you actually want to. That's already the slides. I mean, it's really a very straightforward tool, so I want to jump into it actually right now. At the end, we're also going to have a Q&A. You can also feel free to put your questions into the chat box of the GoToMeeting, and I'm sure Bonnie will be monitoring those and will be able to then address them at the end. So feel free to write them into the chat box. Good. Okay. So if there are no questions right now, I'll actually directly jump into the actual SAP Business One system. So what you have here is when you install the cube, when you get the coresuite cube, you're going to have a new menu here. And again, to quickly highlight what the main purpose of the story is, really easy and fast analysis of SAP data in Excel. And why Excel? Because, I mean, everybody, we've all grown up in Excel. All the financial people among you love Excel. So it's really a big deal to be able to work in pivot tables and that you can do dynamic reports with drag and drop of the dimensions and manipulate data from SAP in a pivot table. So essentially, we have two cubes which we promote. We have the sales cube, which comes with the purchasing cube. So we have AR and AP. And then we also have a finance cube. If we now go into the sales cube, for instance, you'll see from the reporting services you have predefined out-of-the-box reports, which are based on Microsoft Analysis Services. So they're canned reports based on Visual Studio. These can also be viewed online, so they're web-enabled in a browser, and you can send them via subscription to a distribution list on a scheduled basis. These are just regular reports. Now, the exciting part is actually the Excel. So here you can see with drag and drop, I'm now going to show you how you can create your own reports in Excel with actual B1 data. So we're going to go in here and we're going to open the Open Sales one. You see, and everything I'm showing you now, that's a common question I get. This is what you get when you install the tool. So this is not something you need to first configure. You install the tool, you run the wizard, and you have these 3 templates available essentially. So we're going to open the Open Sales one, and you see an open blank Excel opens up, a pivot table, and on the right side I have dimensions. I'm going to enable the content. And here with the dimensions, I'm now going to show you how with simple drag and drop I can create my report according to my needs. So here are, for instance, values which I can put in. Let's say I want to see my total open sales in local currency. So what it's now going to do is it's going to load this total amount onto this pivot table and allow me to actually slice and dice this information according to my needs. Let me go in here. So you see, now I have this big number. But of course, this large number doesn't really mean much to me because I don't really know what is behind this number. So let's say I want to go further. Let me just move the go to meeting so that it doesn't come in my way here. So I can go in here and I can say, okay, I want to add, for instance, items to this analysis. I want to see, okay, what items are actually behind this. So I can go in here and you can see now I can see my item group. So I can see the revenue per item group, SAP printers, 140,000, or I can drill down and I can see actual individual items here as well. Right? So it already gives me a little more information. But at the same time, it doesn't really tell me over how much time I made this revenue. So I can just simply go in here and I can add the calendar dimension. And you can see very easily within a couple of seconds it shows me the revenue of my items over years, right? It very easily allows me to see this information and it's really quick as well. Now let's say I would want to filter it only for a particular year, then I can go into fields here and I can pull a year and I can put in a report filter and for instance say, okay, I only want to see the year 2010 here. Right here, right? Then it's going to focus for me and show me only the data of 2010. And the fun thing is that through that is based on Excel, I can really also use standard Excel functionality. So let's say I need this information for a particular management meeting. I can just go in here. I can go in pivot chart. I can select a pivot chart, and here I directly have the visualization of my data, right, which I can then use for my meeting. So it allows you essentially to use standard Excel functionality as well. If I no more want the filter, just drag and drop, take the filter out. You can also do additional things, like if I go here, what I kind of like, you can also say, okay, I want, for instance, a current quarter or next year or a particular date range. So here it allows you also to put date filters according to which intervals are essentially relevant to you. So that's another thing. Now this is still a simple report. Now let's say I want more information. I want to, for instance, also add still customers. So which customers actually gave me this revenue? You see it really quickly loads this information. Or I want to see, okay, how much revenue did I make in the US and how much did I make in Canada, for instance. I want to add this information. But also for my own evaluation, I want to see different sales employees. How much did they do? And stuff like that. So you can really make the report as relevant to you as you want and slice data. I can have warehouses included, territories. You can see you can also have different data sources. This is also interesting. If I have, let's say, document type, then I can here select, okay, do I want, for instance, only deliveries to be shown in the numbers or also orders? Let's say we only do orders, for instance, here. Then it allows you to do that. Of course, distribution rules are reflected as well. As we see in the calendar, the customer properties and stuff like that. But you can also in the values, let's say I don't only want numbers, but I also want quantities, for instance. Then I just add quantities and you'll also have the actual quantities of the items which have been sold. I mean, the basic idea is all this you get out of the box and you can then just click whatever data you want to have in what way. You can, of course, also change the arrangement. Let's say I want to have on the top, I want to have country, then I want to have my customers as an arrangement, and then I want to have items and then sales employee. Then it shows me here directly, okay, this particular customer, let's say here, Norm Thompson, I can see HP printer, which particular HP printer, I can see this amount, right, the 101,000, and I can even see which sales employee sold how much of that, with the sales manager how much and Jason Butler. The nice thing is if I want to see what details are actually behind this particular transaction, I can even go in, I can double click, and it's going to take me into the actual details, the actual orders, or any information which is then related to this particular transaction. So I can see all the information, the customer, territory, the details on the items, the account behind it, and so on. So it allows you to actually really drill down and see what exactly is behind these numbers, right? And this is really amazing. So I can get detailed information according to my interest without needing to create a report and having any technical expertise via the cube with the SAP-based data. So you can do a lot of things in terms of, arranging these values. And you see, we started with a simple report. Now we have a really complex report where we can even drill down and get any additional information which we need. Now another thing is, of course, let's say let's take the filter out, and I want to now filter by sales employee, for instance. Let's say I want to see, okay, what did Jason Butler do for me last year? or just in general. Let's see here, right? Now I want to, for instance, as a sales manager, I want to send out this document on a weekly basis, right? That he actually sees his number. All my sales employees see their number. But of course, if I send this to him, I do not want him essentially to be able to manipulate this data, right? I would want him to just be able to see the general data and be able to refresh it. Another thing, of course, before we go to that, actually, the other thing is if I take the filter out, I do not, let's say you're reporting on a regular basis, you don't want to create this Excel, this spreadsheet from scratch every time, right? So it's very easy. You can just save it here, save it on our desktop. Let's put it here, and we'll call it Encaptis, right? So I've got my template the way I like the thing to be, and now I'm going to go back on my desktop. You can see right here. I'm going to open it. And now, you know, to open it the next day, of course, I assume the numbers have gone up, or I hope the numbers have gone up. Then I can just go on data, I can go on refresh, and now it's going to get from the data warehouse the latest information and update my numbers. So you see it's exactly the same Excel, so you don't have to recreate it every time, which I think is really also very useful, at least for me in my use. And then the other thing is, as I said, if we go back to the sales employee and we say we want to filter for Jason Butler, we want him to have this on his desktop as well, that he could see it every week and check his numbers. I can go here, but of course I don't want him to look at other stuff. So now here also standard Excel functionality, I can go to all app and convert to formulas. And what this actually does for me is it's actually freezes the report, right? So you can see it is still, the numbers are still connected to the cube, but it doesn't, you lose the ability to modify the dimensions. You see the dimensions are gone. So you can see here, I can then give it the look and feel. I can do, you know, if I have any type of calculations I want to do and stuff like that. So I can really add any type of information. And then, of course, I can then send this to Jason Butler, or on a scheduled basis. If you combine it with our other product, the CoreSuite country package, I can say, okay, I want this to be sent to my sales employees on a weekly basis, for instance. They can review it, and all what they need to do is refresh the data, and they'll have the current data according to what I actually want them to see. So this is also a nice functionality that you can actually freeze a report. It's still connected to the cube. You can modify the layout, add formulas, and then send it out to your team. So this is also kind of a popular way of working with the solution in terms of if you want to share it. The users need to be in the Active Directory of your system, and that's all they need, and of course be connected to the network to review and refresh the data in here as well. So now you've kind of, this is our first cube. You've seen how, it's not saved as exchanges, let me make sure. So you've seen how the sales cube can be accessed, and I've showed you now the way how it can be accessed from SAP, within SAP, right? But now I'm going to show you how you can also access the cube with no need to actually log into SAP. So you can just actually access SAP data without going into SAP and do data analysis really quickly and fast. So as you can see here, we also have a finance cube, which also comes with out-of-the-box canned reports, but also with the predefined Excel for balance and profit and loss and stuff like that. So I'm not going to launch this cube from here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a blank Excel, and in my case I already have existing connections, but you could also just create a new connection if it's not existing. And you can see here I already have access to my actual P&L. So if I go in here, it opens up, and it's actually, again, the similar system like you saw before, right? What it's now going to do is it's going to open a blank Excel. So we don't only have AP and AR, but also for CFOs and finance people, controllers, you have all this information. And again, what is really popular, the feedback we're getting is I don't need any technical know-how for these reports. It's really drag and drop and using SAP data and doing easy data analysis. So here are the dimensions which you get, for instance, with the P&L report. If we go in here, for instance, and we can say, okay, we also want the P&L local currency. You can see it loads this. Then, you know, let's say we also want, of course, the calendar dimension. We want more information. Then we want account classes, for instance, here, right? We have the individual account classes here. Then we can go into even more details, and we want to see the actual granular accounts in the background. If we go in here, you can see you can also do things like add projects, for instance. So we have different projects in the system here as well. If you see here, we have a government works and so on. You can also have profit centers, for instance, distribution rules, of course, if you have any implemented and stuff like that. What you also, of course, can do is versus the previous year. So let's say if you want the delta in percent versus the previous year. It's also directly going to look at information for you versus the previous year. And the key thing is, of course, here you know that you really have fast and easy data analysis. So it's really very quick. You can also see in terms of how it loads the information and stuff like that. So this is like a pretty a popular tool also for finance people, of course. You can also filter according to different information. Again, if I would only want the year 2010, for instance, then I would just go in here, and as we saw before, I can just filter for a particular year, right here, 2010, for instance, or 11, whatever, and then you can see I have the data for this. If I don't want the filter, I just take it out. The special thing for those of you, if there's some in the call who have like multiple databases, right, not only one company in SAP, here you can very easily also have different data sources consolidated. So if you go here, you can see in my system I have 3 databases. So I have the US in general, then California and New York. By default, it takes all 3, but let's say I only want to see the data of California, then it will show me only the data of California. So I can very easily also consolidate or also differentiate different databases. So you can see now I only have California. I could also, I mean, it depends on your preference. You could also say I want it as a row label, right? I don't want it as a, then you'll have the rows individual values according to the different databases. In general, it's the way how you can, I just got a message. Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah.
Somebody quickly confirm.
Yeah, we
can,
can,
okay,
but
good.
there are times where it's a bit muffled.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
okay.
but we're good for the most part.
Okay, good, perfect. Okay, so yes, so that's the financial one, and that's the essentially how you would handle the cube, the consolidation part in general. Of course, if you have more than one SAP database, then you can select the data source as a filter, or you can put it in the rows and work with multiple cubes and consolidate these DBs. And then, of course, as I said, you also have here financial canned reports as well, the reporting services. You have various reports here as well. Another cool thing which you can do, which I'd like to show you, is let's say you want to directly from here launch your Excel, right? We've now already predefined our Encaptis one, and we don't want you want to directly from here be able to open your predefined Excel Encaptis and refresh it directly from there. So you don't want to maintain it at 2 areas. So this is a very easy thing which you can do if you combine it with the coresuite country package. And personally, we've gotten a lot of good feedback for this feed, so I just want to show it to you quickly. So what you can do is you just copy the path essentially of this to this particular Excel. This could be on a network, or in my case now on the desktop. And then I can go in here, and if you combine this with the country package, which is anyway one license is a prerequisite, you can go in here and you can add a new menu, right? Let's say I want to directly be able to open this Encaptis Excel from SAP, not have to go to my desktop. So I can go in here, I can add a new menu. You can see here. So we add a row here, and we call it Encaptis report here. Encaptis report. Here, this is pretty random. You can just do whatever you want. Here we go. And then here it asks you, of course, under which menu are you interested putting the Excel, right? It has to be on some menu. Now, let's say we want to put it in the sales menu. We want to have it in here because it's our sales report. Then we just go and we need to get the system information. So we go here, and let's activate the system information here. So we go on modules, and then, I don't know, for those of you who can see it, on the lower left corner, it tells you the menu UID is 2048. That's just the SAP standard number for this menu, so that it recognizes where to position it. So we're going to go in here. We do 2048, and then let's go in here. Here we go, and then here we select string. This is the same thing as above. And now we go in, and all what we do is that the path which we copy, we actually paste in here. Here we go. We save it, and now we update this functionality. It's in here. Here we go. Here we go. And now what we need to do is we're going to have to restart SAP. just to see that because the menu generation happens with SAP. In the meantime, while SAP is restarting, again, a quick summary of what we saw and what the basic idea of this is. The main necessity of the cube actually really came out of it that people need an easy way to analyze SAP data with short implementation time, with easy ways of working with the tool, and essentially that's how it came. So this is really a great way. The purpose is really to have a great way to analyze SAP data easily and quickly in Excel with no technical knowledge necessary, and essentially to be able to slice and dice data without the need for somebody to write complex reports or, to provide you with the corresponding query. So that's really the main purpose here. Let me open that up. So the basic thing is, of course, if you combine the cube also with the country package, there's a lot of things you can do also on a scheduled basis, right? So if I want, my sales team to get the report on a regular basis, and they can hand out these Excels, they can then just refresh the data and do a lot of stuff based on that. So this is really also a nice way of, if you have document delivery, you can work with these Excel reports as well to essentially send out this information. Okay, so we're restarting here. Almost done. This was just like an added goodie. I think it's a nice thing to know that you can integrate your Excels in here as well. So what you would do is you go in here, and then you can see here now we have the Encaptis report, right? We put it under the sales menu, the menu ID 2048. So we go in here, you go in the sales, then you go into the Encaptis report, and now it's going to open our Excel directly from here. And the nice thing is now either you can go directly on data and refresh, or if you go on properties, you can go directly here and you can say refresh data when opening the file, right? So that would mean the moment you open the file from the actual thing here, you can see when I open it here, it's now automatically going to refresh. So this also allows you, to have it centralized, your reports, if you have certain templates centralized in SAP, and add new menus directly from here as well. Like I have my own cube report in my system as well. So this is the basic idea here where you can do, or as I said, you can send it out on a scheduled basis and things like this. Okay, that's, I usually try to keep this demo pretty short because it's really self-explanatory and I think it pretty quickly covers the reporting needs, so I try not to make it as complex, but you've definitely seen, the basic things with the dimensions, the drag and drop, the adding. The UDFs is definitely something. We have a lot of customers who've integrated their own UDFs for now. As I said, it's still based on a project, which, we would do for you because it really is a change on the core product. But we do intend to make this process a little simpler, more simple in the future. And regarding the system requirements, I will send you the link, Bonnie, and then you can maybe forward that where everything is nicely described.
Yeah, that's perfect. And Arti, if you could forward me the PowerPoint that you used earlier as well so I can forward it to everyone.